When we were first moving into this caravan, I was convinced I needed as many storage hacks and organisation things as I could possibly find. But 20 months in living in this caravan full time, we've barely got any storage solutions for you. So instead of a storage hack video, I'm here to show you what we've done with our caravan storage and how we keep everything neat and tidy, or at least just locked away and hidden. So let's start this storage tour. Our caravan is full of little hidden storage spaces, which I really love. We used to even have a couple of spare cupboards with not much in them, but since living in it full time for over 20 months, we've now filled those little spaces that were once empty. So first let's cover the bedroom. To the left of the bed, we've got our clothes cupboard. Tom and I keep all of our main clothes here that we wear all the time, and it's got some pre-built shelving in there, which is really handy as well. We also just have some little baskets to store our socks and underwear, so it's just easier to find. And then above the bed, we have these two big cupboards that the girls have most of their stuff in, and then we also have some of our big jackets that we wear occasionally when it's really cold outside. We keep Callie's nappies and wipes up here with some cream, also some of the school books they use, Play-Doh. We just find that it's easy to store these things here and easy to grab these books out when we need to. So underneath our clothes cupboard is this little drawer, and this is where we store our laptops, iPad, charging cords, lots of things that we need all the time, hard drives and things like that, they all go in here. It's a bit of a mess, and I'm pretty sure my laptop is probably badly damaged from being in here all the time without any protection, but so far we're all good, nothing's broken, so I'm just going to keep it this way for now. And underneath this drawer we have another little cupboard. This one was a little bit strange for us to find something to put in. We were thinking maybe it would be a shoe cupboard or something like that, but we've since filled it with Tom's work stuff. So that's basically his laptop bag, power lead, keyboard, mouse, things like that Tom needs all the time for work. They go in there and they're stored pretty securely then, unlike my laptop. So then under the bed we have a massive storage compartment which can either be accessed from outside or even here in the caravan. Unfortunately they couldn't build our bed to be a lifting bed to be able to access the storage that way because we did push it to the side so the window is in the way, but honestly it's not even a problem for us at all. The only reason we ever get into this cupboard is to get the vacuum out, and I can access that easily from inside the caravan anyway. This is the area where we store our suitcases for when we're traveling, our Starlink box, the vacuum, and just a bunch of other bags and things that we need sometimes but not very often. I've also actually chucked in heaps of our winter clothing into the suitcases under there. Just down beside me here we've got a little toy box for the girls. This one was mostly used when Callie was smaller, so when she was crawling around she would come to this little toy box and play with the toys there. Honestly it hasn't been used that much these days, but they love to just empty it out occasionally and make a mess of the caravan, so I've just left it there for them. It seems to entertain them sometimes, and it just shows them that they can play whenever they want to. And just below me here we've actually got this huge tunnel area that you can store things if you want to. What we store under here while we're traveling especially is our Thermomix, the smart oven, and then our yoga mats and a baby carrier and stuff like that. It's also just kind of the place where we shove things when we need them inside out of the rain if we're all packed up, and it just goes in there. That's kind of a great space to have spare so you can put things in there and hide it away. But yeah, lots of space in there, which is great. So next up we've got the dining room, and above me is two huge cupboards that we store mostly the girls' stuff. So this is a lot of toys, magnetic blocks, their shell collections, their Lego, their games, their puzzles, and then we also do store our camera, our tripod, and the microphone and stuff like that in that cupboard as well. Honestly, this is another thing that we are so slack on. We should definitely be protecting this camera more because it is just shoved in this little bag and thrown in the cupboard, and that's probably not good enough. The next cupboard after that is where our battery system is. Honestly, we don't really use this cupboard very much. We do store some tissue boxes in here occasionally, but we don't really ever need to go into this cupboard because we're always connected to power at campsites. Now below me is actually a lot of storage, and we don't use a lot of it, which reminds me that I said I had no spots left spare, but that's not true because this one is. So in one of the compartments is the hot water system, and in front of that we've got a huge area where we can store our shopping bags, lots of spare shoes, raincoats, umbrellas, just a lot of the things that you need like once a week probably. They all go in there. So it's really handy to access that like so close to the door, especially if you need a raincoat in an emergency. So that one is easily accessible from the front of the lounge area, which is really great. It's got its own little door that you can go through. But the other storage area here, and the main reason why we don't ever use it, is because you have to access it from under the couch cushion, and nobody's got time to lift a couch cushion to get something out. This would be a great spot to store anything that you don't need very often at all. So like an example would be your suitcases and stuff like that, or jackets that you don't need often. That'd be a great space to put those. If you're like me, your kitchen is probably the most important area to have good storage. It's one of my favourite things about this caravan. Having so much kitchen storage is really, really important to me. So underneath the bench top is most of the storage. This is where we have our 6 small drawers, and this is full of all the cutlery, the cooking utensils, the cups, the plates, the bowls, the containers, the lunch boxes, all of that sort of stuff goes in our drawers here. And then under those 6 sliding drawers, we've got these 2 little pop-out drawers that are basically just on the floor, and it's pretty much full of random stuff. So it really is just the junk area. It's where we store some things that we kind of need sometimes, but also it just doesn't really have a home. So that's where that stuff ends up. So above me here, we have a huge cupboard, which is so good. This is one of the few areas where I have added in some little containers with some drawers, and that's just for the kids crafting and colouring books and stuff like that. It's easier to store them this way, and I just got some Gorilla Tape and stuck it down that way. This is also where we store our induction cooktop and our chopping boards, and our internet is always plugged in here as well. There's another cupboard that's the same size on the other side, and that is where we store our toaster at all times. Our kettle goes there while we're travelling. We've also got all of our tea and coffee and sugar. Strangely enough, our toothbrushes live here too, and that is because at night time we brush our teeth in the kitchen so we don't wake up the girls in their bedroom. So obviously under the sink is your usual area. Things like our garbage bin, garbage bags, the dishwashing liquid and the drying rack and stuff like that, they all live in there. And I really desperately want to add in a different bin here. I know it's not technically storage solution. I mean, it kind of is in a way, but I would love to get a different bin to put in here, make it bigger and slide out, or at least like when you open the door, it opens itself. It's just a bit of a pain to open that bin myself 100 times a day. So we've actually got a dishwasher, and it does take up a fair bit of storage, but if you're like us and you remove your oven and your cooktop to put your dishwasher in instead, then you're obviously not losing out on anything. You're just gaining a dishwasher, which I think is very worth it. Then under the dishwasher, we've got a small storage area, and this is another one of those kind of random throw-in things where we just threw in some pots and pans, cooking bowls, and some of the Thermomix items live under there too. And then we've got our like alfoil and the plastic wrap and stuff like that. So that's another really random cupboard down there. And next in our kitchen, we've got this huge fridge and freezer, and also a full length pantry, which is just epic. The freezer has never been at full capacity, so we always have extra space in our freezer, which is helpful. Don't mind the random Barbie in there. Mila's doing a colour change experiment. And then our fridge will depend on the day of the week. So if it is a day like today, which is a Sunday, it will be extremely empty. But if it is a Monday afternoon, it will be absolutely chock-a-block full. I wouldn't say that we need a bigger fridge, but we definitely couldn't do with a smaller fridge. This is the exact perfect size for us. I wouldn't want any smaller. Above the fridge, we've got a little cupboard here, and that's where we store all of our medicine supplies, tissues and coins for the laundry and sunscreen, all that sort of stuff goes up there. This is also where we store our logbook folders, just stuff like that that you don't need often, but it's paperwork and it has to go somewhere. Under the fridge is a small little cupboard with the water filter. We have a little rag towel shoved in there just for emergencies when we need a towel that is able to get wet or dirty. This helps it to keep separate from our bath towels and getting confused with them. And then obviously we've got our pantry, which is a huge space. Originally it was one of those pull-out metal shelving pantries, and I didn't like that, so I had it removed, and instead I got a builder to put in some shelving. It's so much better. I can see all of our stuff better, and I can fit at least twice as much stuff in there now. Obviously by looking at this, you could fit in way more shelves and have way more stuff, but I don't need any more things in my pantry, so this is the right amount of shelving for me, and it's just easier for me then to be able to see all the stuff inside the pantry, and obviously to access it too. Next we've got the kids' bedroom, and this is a space where we've kind of made more storage for ourselves by removing our washing machine. It's probably a controversial opinion, but we don't actually like the Caravan washing machines. For me, they're just too small. I'd have to do washing at least every 2 days, and that's just not something that I enjoy doing, and especially having to run it in our Caravan at the same time as other things that I'm doing. So we did remove our washing machine pretty quickly, and instead I've turned it into a little toy cupboard for the girls. Obviously it wasn't built for being a toy cupboard, so it's got nothing in it. It's got no shelving, no slide outs or anything like that, so it's kind of a waste of space at the moment, and I have been wanting to add in some shelving or something to make it easier for the girls to access all of their things, because it's kind of just thrown in there at the moment. But honestly, I have no regrets about removing our washing machine there. It's so much better as a toy cupboard, especially because it's in their room and they can open and close it whenever they wish to get out their toys or books. So above this one, we've got Mila's cupboard, and this is where all of her clothes are stored. We've got this little handy rack on the side of the cupboard where she keeps her underwear, which just makes it easier for her to find. We've also just got a basket in this one just to keep her pajamas and socks separate. It just makes things easier for a little toddler trying to find her clothes for the day. And then of course above Mila's, we've got Callie's cupboard as well, but she actually does have an extra shelf in this one, So above her clothes, we are able to store nappies and sleep sacks and some random little presents that we're waiting to open for Easter. Under the girls' bunk beds, there's this huge storage area that you can access again from either outside or in the caravan. And this is where we store things like extra towels or blankets. We've also got some random swimming stuff in bags here, so if we need floaties for swimming or different toys for swimming, that's where that goes as well. This is also where Tom will store his weights when we're traveling. It helps to add weight to the back of the caravan because when we got it weighed, they told us we were too light at the rear, so we've shoved in a few weights at the back. In each of the girls' beds, there's these little areas at the pillow end where you can store books and stuff like that, which is really helpful for when we're trying to find books at night. Mila can just climb into bed and grab a book from there. So in our bathroom, there's not a crazy amount of storage, but it's definitely enough for us. On the side of the toilet, we've got our 4 towel racks where we hang our towels. I've also just added a little handrail in below those towels to put our bath mat. I just keep it there to dry. It's just easier than having it thrown over the sink or the toilet or something like that through the day. And then just to the side of me here is where we keep our clothes basket. It used to be in great condition, but after so many times carrying it back and forth from different laundries in the caravan parks, it has absolutely torn to shreds. And I'm yet to find another clothes hamper that will fit here. So if you have any recommendations for that, please let me know in the comments, because I have been searching for so long to find something that fits in this area. So please help me out. Above the toilet, we've got these 2 big cupboards, and this is where we store toilet paper, extra soap, and then all of our bath and beach towels and cloths and things like that. That all goes up there. And then of course we've got this big cupboard underneath the sink, and this is obviously where we store all of our toiletries, minus mine and Tom's toothbrushes. But we do have a few little baskets in here, and that's obviously because toiletries are like so many and so scattery that I just wanted little baskets that we could put in there to make everything a bit more separated and easier to find. So we've got a basket for me, for Tom, and then the girls have a tiara basket and then other hair supply basket as well. You can tell that they prioritize their hair accessories. In the shower, we just have this little shelf that we added in to hold our soap, shampoo and conditioner and stuff like that. It's been great. It has not fallen off at all. You can find them at Bunnings, and it's the same brand as the handrail that I have here and in the kitchen as well. So that pretty much covers the entire interior storage for the caravan. The only things I forgot to mention were the little pockets right near the door, which are really handy. Right above the door is where we can store a lot of our documents and paperwork that we need. This is things like passports and birth certificates and stuff that we need to keep on us. And to the side of the door is where we store our sunglasses in this pocket, and then the one below we actually put our caravan park paperwork there. So that's just the piece of paper you get when you check in, and it gives you all your codes and your map. We just find that it's really handy to keep it there. That way each week we can just swap it out for the new one. So as for the exterior storage, obviously some of these things can be accessed from inside and outside, so we've already shown you those. But the main one that we do have is this huge tunnel boot at the front. This is a really important one for us. It stores our entire annex and our pegs for the annex. It has the kids' chairs in it, and it also stores our aircon unit that Tom pulls out if it's too hot in the annex for working, which hasn't honestly happened that much. We've probably used it only 4 times or so. So we probably could get rid of that now that we know that Tom can go to cafes to work at lunchtime if he needs to, due to it being too hot. But it's such a handy space to have, and it fits so much in this area. And then obviously on the front of the caravan, we've got a huge toolbox. This has 2 separate doors on each end. One of the areas is where we store our waste pipe, water pipes, power cords, the chocks, the mat for underneath the annex. All of that stuff goes here when Tom is packing up and we're moving. So right now it's pretty empty, but on the weekends it's always full. And then on the other side is where we have our toolbox. So that's got all of our tools and our blower and our drill and things like that that we need every week as well. And this probably isn't a caravan storage, but we do have our entire annex that we use as a storage area as well through the week. This is where we just throw all of our shoes, and if we're going to the beach, we put our stuff in here to dry if it's wet outside. It's also where we store Tom's work stuff through the week, and honestly it can get pretty messy out here, especially if it's raining like it is today, but we do really like having the annex, and we find that it's a great little extra space for us while we're full-time caravanning. The only other storage thing that we would kind of use is the boot of the car. So the boot of the car is always full on weekends, and that's because that's where we store Tom's office chair, office desk, the small table outside, and the kids' play mat. So the car is absolutely maxed out for when it comes to storage. The car is also where we store all of our bikes and scooters and the pram. So it is always pretty full. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's how we store everything in our caravan while living in it full time. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that it's helped you to imagine where you would put your things if you're moving into a caravan. And of course, I'm lacking a lot of storage hacks, so if you have anything that is obvious that I should be trying out or doing in our caravan, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you're doing in your caravan that's really helped you out. But thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want to see another video from us, make sure you hit that subscribe button.